Boom, shakalaka boom. You've tuned in to the free-range human show of choice, your daily dose of reality radio. It starts right now. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I am, of course, Clay Edwards, coming at you live here on 1039 WYAB. You already know we stream it worldwide and, of course, live over on the Mazda of Jackson live stream this morning. You can always check out Mazda Jackson by swinging by right there at Briarwood Drive. Test drive the all-new Mazda CX-90, the CX-5, and so many of the other great vehicles they got there. And don't forget, every new Mazda comes with a full year of free basic maintenance. That's oil changes, tire rotations, all that good stuff. All you got to do is buy a car. They got great financing options available, usually starting as low as 0.9% with approved credit, of course. But, hey, don't let the credit stuff scare you. If you got rough credit, you're rebuilding your credit, they have options for you too. Man, I tell you, they are itching to give away some money over there at Mazda Jackson. Swing by, test drive it all new in the day. Don't forget, we always talk about the new cars. They got a great selection of pre-owned vehicles there at Mazda of Jackson as well. Late model, low mileage. Some great financing options available on those too, especially if you get a certified pre-owned. I'm a big fan of certified pre-owned, and I'm a big fan of leasing. If you got good credit, leasing is such a great way to go. So check them out, Mazda of Jackson, in person at Briarwood on 55 or online at mazdaofjackson.com. Before we get too deep in the weeds this morning, real quick, a little traffic alert. I don't do a whole lot of these, but the timing worked out. If you're coming into Hinds County, Rankin, anywhere east of Vicksburg on on I-20, you're going to be experiencing some massive delays this morning. A portion of I-20 East is blocked following an 18-wheeler crash at around 6:30 this morning was the last update from WLBT there. So you could check that out if you were, not check it out, just enjoy your time parked on I-20. I believe they got it open to one lane. Our co-host here, Creston Berch, knows a lot about that. Having been a cop there in Clinton for years, I'm sure worked a lot of accidents on I-20.
Yeah, those 18-wheelers are fun.
Yeah.
They're awesome, especially when one turns sideways, and then you got, like a load of oranges or whatever else you want to call it, strode all over the place. So I'm sure they're having fun cleaning that one up.
Yeah, so the wreck happened here at, just so you know, the accident happened on the eastbound lanes at Washington Street and Warrenton Road exit Friday morning. The 18-wheeler is leaking diesel, and a tow truck is working to remove the big rig from the scene. One lane of traffic as of 6:25 a.m. is open, and traffic is moving slowly.
Yeah, that's right there off the river bridge. That's right there.
Yeah, so if you're coming in from Louisiana, you're going to be more affected. I actually copy and pasted and just threw it up on social media real quick so people could see it if they were thumbing their phones this morning. So you should be all right if you're getting on the interstate anywhere east of the river bridge, pretty much. All right, just thought we would throw that out there for you this morning. So if you're an employer and you got somebody that lives over in Delta that works for you, they might be a little late this morning. So be patient with them. Be patient with them. All right, man. So let me put my screen back where I had it at there. We got Creston Berch here in the studio with us. You can follow him over on X at Bourbon Diplomacy. Drop the Y at the end, just Bourbon Diplomacy, the letter C. And, of course, you can follow me on most all social media platforms at SaveJXN, TikTok, Instagram, X. And then if you want to follow me on YouTube, same thing, SaveJXN. And I've got some backup channels where we post a bunch of the clips that don't make it onto the main channels. Just search Instagram and YouTube, Clay Edwards Show. And a lot of clips get loaded there. A lot of reels and segments from the show and stuff of that nature. What I would call like B-level content, but I don't want it to go to waste. Sometimes it goes viral over there on those channels. You just never know what's going to pop around here. We are powered by the free testosterone screenings over at Live Better Men's Health and Wellness. My buddy Scott McCullough out there in Gluckstadt, Mississippi. Take advantage of those. All you got to do is call or text Clay or call and say you heard it on this show, the Clay Edwards Show. And the phone number is 601-633-9017. 601-633-9017. You're just a text away from getting your manhood back, fellas, getting your motivation back, your drive. your sex life, your motivation to get in the gym, all of that good stuff. It's right. It's one text away today. Text Clay, 601-633-9017. We got a big show planned for you today. A lot of hot topics to hit. I'm still loading them as we go here. You can join in on the live chat. I see it percolating now. Also, you can text the show on the Ellis Autoplex text line, 769-241-1944. I know we give out a lot of numbers here, but some of them interest others, some of them don't. So if there's a number that piques your interest, I like to make sure I give it to you plenty. But the Ellis Autoplex text line is 769-241-1944. You can text that anonymously, or if you want your name mentioned, just drop a name in there with it. If I don't already have you saved in the phone, I try to save everybody that gives me their name so we know who we're talking to. And you can come up with, if you like a nickname, you can do a nickname. I don't care. You can be anonymous. Doesn't matter to me. I always joked around like somebody's nickname ought to be anonymous. This is anonymous on the text line. Anyway, so some of the topics I want to hit today. Let's start here. Trans kids belong. It was about 4 years ago that I got sick and damn tired of seeing that billboard on I-20 right there in Pearl at the Bass Pro Shops. And I took it amongst myself to turn that billboard. I bought all the available space and basically raised the cost of tea in China. And I've replaced the Trans Kids Belong billboard with the Clay Edwards Show billboard. And if you're watching online, you're seeing a photo that is an accurate representation because it is, the photo that I took of both billboards, the Trans Kids Belong billboard, and then where I replaced it with my billboard. That's right. Right there was on the Bass Pro, in front of Bass Pro. If you were heading, I believe, west on I-20, you would see it. It's a double-sided billboard, but I just had the westbound side, I guess. Maybe I had both. I don't remember. The picture I got is if you're going west on I-20 right there at the outlets, right there in Pearl. And, it's one of those things where you can sit on the sidelines. I talked about this a lot yesterday. You can sit on the sidelines and not say anything. And that makes me mad. I don't like that. Or you can do something about it. We're in an information war. We have been for a long time. Fourth degree war. I don't know. There's a name for it. Jameson used to say it all the time. There's a certain type of war that we're in right now. And it's not all men on the battlefield. Your traditional concept of war. It is a war for your minds. It's a war for your children. It's a war for American beliefs. Just what we are, the fabric of America. And last but not least, it's a war for your souls. Good versus evil. I mean, you'll never convince me, under any circumstances, that a trans child belongs, because there should be no such thing. How does something that shouldn't exist belong? Please explain that to me.
I can't, sir. So I'll let you continue.
Yeah, like I say, it was a rhetorical question. It doesn't. It can't. What doesn't exist can't belong. So you can either continue to sit back on the sidelines, or you can step up and figure out something to do. But we can't normalize this crap. We have to continue to fight back. And you're starting to see it. I saw something, and look, I will never give Stephen A. Smith his roses, his flowers. I think he's a big old grifter. But even I got to give the man his props. He broke ranks over there at ESPN the other day. We're not going to play it. It's rather lengthy, and it's got some foul language. You can go find it on YouTube or social media, I'm sure. But Stephen A. Smith broke ranks with ESPN.
He brung it.
And he brought the high heat, old school, why I used to actually like Stephen A. Smith. High heat, as we call it, if you're baseball terms, right?
That's right.
High heat. He brought the heater. And he went scorched earth on the WNBA. And this woman right here, who I'm about to show on the screen, her name is irrelevant. She's a WNBA coach. And she decided to wear a Trans Kids Belong shirt when they were playing Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever. She coaches the Minnesota Lynx, I think they are. So whatever. And, man, Stephen brought up some great points, Creston. He said, not only are you a woman coaching a women's basketball league, that literally, one of the coaches said all the men coaches in the league should be fired. And you're advocating for men that pretend to be women to come play ball in that league, or saying trans kids belong. None of it makes any sense. I don't have to sit here and dissect it, but Stephen A. Smith brought up a great point. He's like, what about the sponsors you're alienating that don't support that? And now their brand is associated with it. We always hear all the time about how sponsors are scared to be anti-trans, or transphobic or whatever. But we learn, ask Bud Light how they feel about being associated with a trans.
Yeah, when you start losing that quarterly, them K's and commas, things start to get a little interesting.
Yep. Lindsay texts in, says, no such thing as gender. 2 sexes, 0 genders, infinite personalities. Absolutely. Absolutely. If I say gender, it's just been beaten into my brain. But, also try not to say race when I describe people. I don't say a race of people. I try to say a nationality or what's the other word? I swear I should not have a morning show. I should have an afternoon show. My brain don't even start working. Ethnicity is the word I'm looking for. I try to say ethnicity, not race. But anyway, so he goes scorched earth on her, and that's a big kink in the armor. When the number one guy, well, arguably number one, him, Pat McAfee, flip a coin. I think they cater to 2 different audiences, really. Yeah. And I don't mean just black, white either. I mean just different personalities of audiences. I think Pat McAfee's show skews a little younger. And I think that, and I like Pat McAfee's show, and he does some good interviews, but like the round table stuff with all of his boys and the silly stuff, it ain't my cup of tea.
Right.
But I like it. I mean, I support it. I get it. It's just not like my cup of tea. Mm-hmm. I kind of like more like one-on-one kind of stuff. I don't like the group chat. I like the less is more kind of deal. But I get it. It's fun. But anyway, point being, they're both number one there. And what they pay and what they're making says they're the top guys. But for Stephen A. Smith, who was all in on whatever the Democrat narrative has been for the last 5 years, 6 years, especially post-2020, or going into COVID, coming out of COVID with the shot, all that stuff. What he did to Kyrie Irving. And he came out last week and apologized. Well, look, on behalf of Kyrie Irving, we do not accept your apology. Do not accept your apology. But I got to give the dog his due here, the devil his due on this, because this was a lose-lose for him at work.
Yes, exactly.
And we've been asking, why don't you spoke up about the vaccine, but why haven't you stepped up and spoke out about this? Why does it, and I don't just mean him, I mean anybody at ESPN. Why don't you speak out about this instead of going along with this madness? And he finally did, and I just got to give him his props. Could we see the tide turning? Could this have come from higher up? Now, he did it on his podcast, not on the TV.
Yeah.
So there's that. And he's been known to break ranks here and there on little stuff when he interviews Republicans and this, that, and the other. He's been riding the fence a lot. But more and more he's been coming to the right. And again, I think he's a grifter. I don't believe it. I don't necessarily believe that all the stuff he was doing on the left either. I just think he's a grifter. He's whichever way the wind blows. And I think he put his finger in the air. What way is the wind blowing here? And looks online and says, you know what? There's a lot of people, black, white, straight, gay, other, that got a problem with girls' sports being infiltrated by men and the madness that comes with it.
Well, I think when he was, just talking about sports, when he was just in that arena, he was pretty straightforward on what he liked, what he didn't like. As he's moved into the political realm, he's been a little, in my opinion, been a little bit more open-minded as far as, okay, what idea is better? What is right, what is wrong? So I think he's maybe, as you would say, calling it like he sees them.
Yeah. Well, I could just, he was so gung-ho on the vaccine, and I'll never forget how he just decapitated Kyrie Irving for having the audacity not to take the shot.
Yeah.
It just went off on him. And then when he came out 5 years later with his apology last week, he was like, I was wrong. He's like, I was forced to take it, and I didn't want to. Well, hold on now. You were forced to do something, and you didn't want to. And then you decided, but if I got to do it, you got to do it. Y'all don't even work for the same people. What do you mean? If I got to do it, you got to. That's a punk mentality. You should have been more like, man, bro, I had to do it. I didn't want to. Godspeed. You not do. I stand with you, dog. I stand with you. That's how that conversation should have gone. Not call a man out, dress him down, turn the culture against him, talk about black people, this, blah, blah, blah. We got to do our part. But now you come back and say, I didn't want to take it, but I had to. But so misery loves company is what you're saying. I lost even more respect for him with the apology because, frankly, I had forgotten about it. But Kyrie's balling out, and he figured it was a good time to come in and dip his toe back in the water. But anyway, with all that said, he went scorched earth, and it felt very authentic on this trans thing. Like he'd been biting his tongue, and he finally uncorked. And it just reminded me of my Trans Kids Belong billboard. You know, Creston, this right here, I posted the picture to Facebook just like I did last night, just to kind of remind people, say, hey, I've been in this fight for a long time. Before clicks and views was even a phrase, before Facebook was paying me, this cost me a Facebook page here because the rainbow supremacist, I guess, found it, and they shared it, and they mass reported it, and Facebook took not just the post down, they took my damn page down. So this is the second. I've got to wait.
This ain't your first go around.
No, this ain't my first go around. It was, I guess, it was something to do with Kyle Rittenhouse too. I got smoked back-to-back days with this, and then the Kyle Rittenhouse post. It was just really a picture of Kyle Rittenhouse, kind of holding the gun.
Yeah. And
they said you can't post photos promoting terrorists. So then he got found not guilty, and they still won't give him my page back.
Yeah.
Anyway, as it goes, just rebuild, start over. It doesn't really matter. But get in the damn fight, people. Do not stick your head in the sand. Do not go along with this nonsense. And if an adult chooses to call themselves trans and go along, and you can live your life however you want. I just do not have to go along with it.
Exactly. That's been the whole point the whole time is if you want to do you do you. But don't make me accept your frame of mind.
No.
Or the way you think things should be.
Yeah.
Let me have my own opinion and we'll go our own way.
No, I will not acknowledge you. You're not Roman Reigns. I will not acknowledge you. You do not exist to me in whatever myth you're playing in your head, whatever you're cosplaying, LARPing. You're mentally ill. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's not debatable, and that's okay. A lot of people are mentally ill. I bet 60% of Americans are on some type of medication for mental illness, whether it's ADHD, anxiety, schizophrenia, bipolar, or whatever else. Being mentally ill, there's nothing wrong with that. People are mentally ill all the time. Different levels of it. There's levels to this. But, again, I don't have to play make-believe with you. It doesn't make me a transphobe, a homophobe, or anything else, even though I think trans people are the most homophobic people in the world because what you're really doing is just kind of masquerading some weird way to be with somebody of the same sex without calling yourself gay. Like, no, I'm a trans woman, so I want to be with men. No, you're a man. This is with a man. You're gay. But you're paying dress up to do it. You're weird. But again, what you do in your bedroom and in your life, or even out in the public, I don't care. Leave kids alone. Leave kids alone. And do not, by any means, under any circumstances, ever in the history of never, think I'm going to call you sir or ma'am when you're a ma'am or a sir. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back. 103.9 WYAB. It is an FAFO Friday, if you ain't figured it out. When we come back, Christine Wells Wonsley. Is she a good mother? And why am I wearing a pink shirt today? It ain't by accident. We stand with Madison Brooks. If you're not familiar with it, Google it. If not, we'll find out here shortly. 103.9 WYAB. In to the Clay Edwards Show, 103.9 WYAB. We're streaming worldwide over on the Mazda Jackson live stream across all your favorite social media platforms. I figure it's a FAFO Friday. Why don't we leave it up on Facebook, at least for the first hour? Keep the anger addicts stirring over there. I see some people I like watching on Facebook this morning, too. So we'll keep it rolling for now. Quick little shout out to a couple ladies that I know from my childhood. How about a shout out to my friend Miss Stacy? How about a shout out to Melissa over there? I see Joey Shea in there. How about Heaven Craven in there? Heaven has a good post here. She goes, "Poor Madison. I hope she gets the justice. I don't understand how a judge can tell you not to wear a certain color when it's supporting and representing the deceased." And we're going to talk about that. Heck, you know what? Let's talk about it now. We can punt Nolan Wells' mama stuff to the next hour. I'm a little burnt out on it anyway. Let me pull my image up here real quick so you guys can. I like to have the visual aspect to this. And live chat, I know I had to pull the chat off the screen when I do this. I apologize. Creston, are you familiar with this Madison Brooks case?
Not as of yet, but I'm getting quick.
All right, so Madison Brooks, 19-year-old LSU student, was gang raped and then thrown out on the interstate by a gang of culture rotters. She was drunk, I think 4 times over the legal limit-ish. There's some video of her in the car. How she ended up with these fools, I don't know. They took turns raping her. Now, people will say that she wanted it. That's going to be their defense, right? She wanted it. No, she was poop-faced drunk, and y'all took her, and you gang raped her, most likely. And then they threw her out on the side of the interstate where she got hit by a car and killed. So the judge, and this happened down in Baton Rouge. Man, Baton Rouge is a hellhole. So the judge then is a black woman, a lot like a who's the judge up here we don't like?
Adrian
Wooten. Yeah, she's a lot like Adrian Wooten. Well, the judge, her son, I think about 10, 15 years ago, viciously raped a girl. And she was his defense attorney.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he got sent to prison. So she should have recused herself from this to begin with, in a lot of people's opinions. And I'm not going to get deep in the weeds of the case and the true crime stuff today. We're going to stick to the culture side of this, or the culture rot side of this. Well, the defense attorney for the little thug whose image is up on the screen, he looks like Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons. His hair, like it's stuck it in a light socket. Stuck his finger in a light socket. He should have stuck his other thing in one. Prevented a lot of this, but I digress. So the family has asked all of the family and supporters to wear pink in the courtroom to support Madison. And the defense attorneys are asking the judge to not allow them to. So if you're wondering why Clay Edwards is wearing a pink FAFO shirt today, I don't know when the trial is, but I just decided that Friday's FAFO Friday. I try to always wear one of my shirts on Fridays. And I had a pink one. I said, you know what? Today we wear pink to support Madison Brooks. Today, real men wear pink. And Creston, I probably should have told you to wear pink today, but I had some other stuff going on and forgot.
That'd have been difficult for me. I don't think I've got a pink one.
I had an extra. I could have brought you. But with that said, this is just the kind of stuff that makes people's blood boil. And what I swear, Creston, it's like what they want is a reaction. They want me to get on here this morning, and they want me to call it out because America is so damn divided right now that there's going to be a side because they're black they're just going to say she deserved it. She got it. She had it coming. I'm not talking about all black people. I'm just talking about the group, the black for a living folks who always take the black side no matter what. They're going to say it's like the Carmelo Anthony supporters type, the Nolan Wells truther types that are, it doesn't matter. They're the ones that are going to hang outside the jail with a sign that says "Free my dog." They're always going to blame the victim. They're going to sit out there and blame, even though they don't blame the victim, they're going to blame the crime on poverty, and you don't know how he was raised. You don't know what he had been through. Yeah, I do. Probably was out on the corner at 4 years old, or maybe even better, Creston. Maybe he was an 8-year-old running around an indoor playground with his mama filming him, piping him up, telling him to go pick on white kids, and filming him do it, and then posting it on the internet. You know, maybe that's the kind of background this kid had. Because, you know, what's next from there? They talk about the school to prison pipeline. How about the playground to prison pipeline? These people are sick. Let's ask Grok here real quick what the outcome of it. Let's see if there was an answer, that if the judge allowed or not allowed the family and supporters to wear pink. So I'm asking Grok in live time here. If you don't mind talking for a second.
Yeah, I was trying to read up on this. It's, the Louisiana man accused of gang raping an LSU cheerleader before she was fatally struck by a car has demanded her loved ones be banned from wearing pink at his trial. Mr. Carter, 21 years of age, is one of 3 who allegedly sexually assaulted Madison Brooks, 19, in a car in East Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in January 15th of 2023. So this has been going on since then, and we're just now getting to this young man's trial. So,
you know, there's a lot of wild stuff that goes on down that way. There was an LSU football player who caused a massive wreck in a Dodge Charger or Challenger a couple years ago. And then he was running from the police in Houston and pulled over and shot himself before he could be caught. And rarely does your boy get hung up on misinformation. But I remember making a video about it and giving him the old FAFO championship. And it was one of the rare times that I decided, I was like, you know what? And then, well, anyway, come to find out, we were right all along. But the defense attorney had got some video and was trying to convince people that it actually was not his fault, that he had pulled up on the wreck after it happened and went away and muddied up the waters a good bit, like what Ben Crump does. But then the Louisiana State Highway Patrol came back and said, no, this is what in fact happened. He caused the wreck.
Yeah, they got some gas station footage of him passing cars on a 2-lane road, and that's what caused the wreck. And a man died. Yeah.
And he got charged with, I guess, vehicular manslaughter or something of that nature.
Whatever their equivalent to that is in Louisiana, yeah.
Right. So you got that going on in the background here. And the culture is very mad about that because now they believe that this young man, this future star, this NFL player, got wrongly accused, kicked off the team, took him down a dark hole of depression, and the next time he got chased by the cops, he killed himself. All because of this. Well, no. He did that all because of his bad decisions. Anyway, so you have stuff like that brewing underneath there in Baton Rouge. All right, so we got the answer here. It says the judge allowed it. Judge Gail Horn Ray, also referred to as Judge Gail Ray, ruled on Thursday, August 6th, just yesterday, that family and supporters of Madison Brooks can, in fact, wear pink in the courtroom during the trial of Desmond Carter. It says the key details: the defense had filed a motion seeking to ban pink clothing, arguing it was an attempt to intimidate the jury and create a carnival atmosphere. What about all the times that people do that for the culture riders? Well, why don't his family wear a color? Pick a color. Pick his gang colors. Whatever. I'll wear them. They can do it too. Or does he not have any supporters? Maybe his dad couldn't make it. Let's continue. The judge denied the motion, stating that simply wearing a specific color does not rise to the level of intimidation that would deny the defendant a fair trial. It says some restrictions remain in place. No T-shirts. I would be out, I guess. Badges or signs with Madison Brooks' picture. Okay. No shirts, badges, or signs with Madison Brooks' picture or other references to her. Plain pink clothing is fine. The ruling applies to the upcoming trial date that begins on August 17th. My birthday, as a matter of fact. That's a Monday this year. Let's take a break real quick. Come back. If you want to comment on this, please do. The LS Autoplex text line, 769-241-1944. See, Creston, where she's probably going to still, where the victory is going to come from for the culture is that this judge has a soft spot for young black boys who rape women.
Yeah, I'm surprised that she wasn't
forced off
that case.
Yep,
that's kind of amazing.
Yes, it's tough. I mean, it would be one thing if
literally judges have been forced off of cases for less.
I mean, it would be one thing if it was just her son, but it was her son and she was his attorney.
Yeah.
Let's take a break real quick. We'll be right back. This is the Clay Edwards Show with Creston Berch, 103.9 WYAB. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. Make sure you follow me over on X at SaveJXN. You can follow my co-host here, Creston Berch. Same place. Dang chair. We need to replace this mat here. It keeps getting hung up. Can't roll on my rollers can't roll, but one thing they can roll over is my dang headphone cord. That is for sure. It won't roll forward on a flat surface, but man, you lay that headphone cord down there in front of the wheel, it will roll right over that thing without you even knowing it. But a little pebble of sand, not happening.
Anybody in construction knows if you fall off a building, hope you got a hold of an electric cord, extension cord.
Absolutely. Hey, look, this weekend, it's the big one. Saturday, Sunday, Richland, Mississippi. That's the Rankin County one, not Ridgeland. Rich, R-I-C-H, Richland, Mississippi. The Parks and Rec building right behind the Walmart. It's the big one. It's a great Southern gun and knife show. It's going to be going on all day Saturday, Sunday. I think gates swing open at, 9 on Saturday, 10 on Sunday. Something right in there. It's going to be open till late in the afternoon, early in the evening there. $10 to get in for adults and kids 6 to 11. It's only $2. I think under 6 is free. Over 11 is $10. And if you're under 18, you got to be with an adult. Just a FYI. Bring your guns for trade-ins or to sell, and they will have background checks on site. So if you're ready to buy and you get approved there on the spot, you can walk away with your gun that day. I've never bought a gun at a gun show, though. So, Creston, have you ever bought a gun at a gun show?
I have not.
So let's just, every time I buy a gun, because I don't have my concealed carry or whatever enhancement, I got to wait 3 days every time. Every time I've never been able to leave the store with a gun.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing. Like, there's nothing on there. All I got to do is check. Anyway, it's always the 3-day hold. But it is what it is when I buy a new gun. I'm just curious how that works at a gun show. If you buy one from a licensed dealer there, do they have to ship it to you when the gun show's over?
I'm not sure about that. I don't know. That is out of my wheelhouse.
Take advantage of the gun show loophole. Buy one from a used dealer, not a dealer. Buy one from a private individual with a booth there. I believe that's the gun show loophole, right? It's the private dealer, private seller that sets up a booth and sells their collection.
Well, those folks still have to do. I believe they still have to do a check with the ATF. So, are
you sure on that?
Yeah, they do automatic checks. So
yeah. Just to make sure that I sell it to a
felon.
Now,
if I'm selling from me to you at a place outside of the gun show, then that would be, that's okay. But at the gun show, they have to do checks.
Let's see here. I'll fix my screen, get the chat back up on the screen. Let's ask Grok. What is the gun show loophole? Now, just for the record, I fully support it. I fully support the gun show loophole. It says the gun show loophole refers to the fact that under current federal law, private individuals, not licensed dealers, can sell firearms without conducting a background check.
That is correct.
Licensed federal firearms licensees, FFLs, gun stores, most dealers at gun shows, online sellers who ship, etc., must run background checks. Private sellers, someone selling their private gun to another private party, are not required by federal law to run background checks. That applies whether the sale happens at a gun show, online, in a parking lot, or at someone's house. So technically, private sellers at a gun show do not run background checks. That's what I thought it was. I think it would be a good rule of thumb, because I think you're still responsible, right? If I sell somebody that's a felon a gun and they commit a crime, there's a law there, I believe, where I can be get in trouble.
Where you could be held liable.
Not liable. I mean criminally liable, right?
Well, I have to know if I know that you're, you got some background that's not good, and I sell it to you. Yeah, I think you got some problem. But if you've done your due diligence, for lack of a better term, and you don't have any reason to believe that the individual is a convicted felon, then so be it.
Hey, look, here's what I've always said when I know y'all gonna want to point your guns at me. What I've always said when people talk about common sense gun control, I said this: if I have to have a background check done to buy a new one from a gun store, why shouldn't I have to have one done to buy a used one from an individual? And that's always kind of been my stance on it. I'm not saying that I would push for it. I'm just saying, as we talk about gun control and we talk about banning this and banning that, why don't you just not ban the sale of person to person? But if you want some real gun control, because that seems to be where a lot of the guns are obtained. They're not all stolen. Every gun used to commit a crime ain't stolen. A lot of them are bought by thugs from other people, and they don't have to do the background check. So I was just saying, if I had to pick my poison of banning something or some common sense gun control, I would say simple solution here: make the people have to run to a PFL, a gun store, a gun dealer, a licensed dealer, pay $20, run a background check for them, and let them kind of middleman the deal. That would be my only thing. And I'm not even saying do that again. I'm just saying, if you got to pick something, that one makes way more sense than any of this other so-called common sense gun control that they try to push out there. And by that, they just mean ban AR-15s.
Yeah. I don't get off into it because I have the opinion of, the Second Amendment was there for a reason, and it doesn't have anything to do with hunting.
Sure. Let's see here. All right, so according to Grok, I said if I knowingly sell a gun to a felon, is that against the law? And it says, yeah. So it makes it a 18 USC 922D makes it a crime for any person, licensed dealer, or private seller to otherwise transfer a firearm to someone they know or have a reasonable cause to believe is a prohibited person. Felons especially prohibited under blah, blah, blah. So then I asked, what if, where did I go? I said, what if I don't know? It says if you generally don't know they're a felon, that the buyer is a felon, you have no reasonable cause to believe they're a prohibited person, then under federal law, it is generally not a crime for a private seller. I ain't know.
and therefore,
I ain't know.
All I got to say is know who you selling to, and it better be a close personal friend. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about something. Maybe there's somebody introduced a law that would make it a felony if you sold a gun to somebody, whether you knew or not that they were a felon. It would be a crime, basically, to entice people to make damn sure they know who they're selling guns to. But man, that pretty much just goes back to what I said. Well, before I'm catching a felony, if I'm selling a gun, I am going to do it the way. Unless I absolutely 100% know you, like I'm selling a gun to like Creston, Berch, or Sean Yorkron, or Kim Wade, or somebody I know.
Right.
I'm going to take it to a gun store and be like, hey, can you run this? Here's $20, $50, whatever,
Yeah, that's a lot of people sell guns on things like Gun Broker and stuff like that, and they do that on their end.
Okay.
So that they don't run into this problem. That's just my thing is if I don't know you, personally know you, I'm not selling you a gun. But I'm not selling you a gun anyway because I keep all mine.
I've only sold one, and I've traded it in at a gun store on another one.
I still have the first one I ever bought.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever sold a gun. No, as a matter of fact, I know I haven't. Let's take a break real quick. We'll be right back here with Creston Berch, 103.9 WYAB on the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back in. This is our little short segment here for our top of the hour news break. Let's see. When we come back, I want to discuss Christine Wonsley's custody issues with her children. The modern day Mammy Till. I mean, mother of the year. Loved her baby boy. You know, apparently she had to give up custody of 3 kids, according to a report that came out yesterday. It looks like Ocean Springs has decided to start letting some of her secrets out, since she has decided to roll them under the bus when they've been nothing but supportive of this woman and this family for years and years and years. And it looks like the dam is breaking for old Christine. And I find it funny, too, because I see so many people online that act like she's supposed to be above criticism. She's a grieving mother. How dare you? How dare you? She's a grieving mother. She's got time to jump her ass on jet after jet after jet with Ben Crump and go do this interview and that interview and this press conference and that press conference, demanding justice. But she's a grieving mother? No, she's a criticizing mother. And if you can criticize, if you can give it, you better be ready to take it.
I was just going to say, I believe she was the one, or they were the ones that put themselves in the limelight. It wasn't the other way around.
No, you know, the kid that Carmelo Anthony killed, other than I think his mom being being pictured at court once or twice, or maybe in one little short interview or not, you couldn't point her out of a lineup if she was standing in front of you right now, because she didn't make it about her. Old Wonsley has tried to become a civil rights icon over this. You never met a mother quite like me. Boom goes the dynamite. It's hour 2 of the most incendiary show on the RADIO. I did a little trickery there that time with my fingers. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm, of course, Clay Edwards. We are live here on the 50,000 megawatt flamethrower 103.9 WYAB. We're streaming worldwide over on the Mazda Jackson live stream, as well as WYAB.com. You can go to your phone, go to your browser, your native browser. You either know what that means or you don't. Type in WYAB, hit listen live, and then add to home screen. And boom, you got WYAB live at your fingertips, worldwide, 24/7, no matter what we got airing here. Whether it's the Chip Matthews Show, Clay Edwards Show, Lindsey Beckham Show, Mike Madison, our other multitude of single episode a week shows, Kim Wade in the afternoons, 4 to 6 every day, myself, so on and so forth, all our great sporting events, LSU football, Atlanta Braves baseball, Memphis Grizzlies basketball, Tri-County football. We're just a fingertip away. Boop, at WYAB.com. All right, we're powered by the free testosterone. Man, some testosterone would help a lot of these folks. And your mental health problems. I'm being dead serious about that, by the way. That is not a joke. If you're having some mental health issues, if you're depressed, I'm not saying that it will fix everything, but I'm saying, man, it would damn sure won't hurt it. I would, before I started taking any kind of psychiatric meds, antidepressants, anything like that, especially my men out there, I would go get my testosterone levels checked. And not from your family doctor either. You know, not from your normal physician. Go to a men's clinic, get it checked, see what your number is. And if it's low, it's low. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, you may be a high functioning 300 testosterone, but that's still low. You know, back in the day, we was all running around here with 1,000 plus testosterone level. There ain't no reason, no way, no how, that a sub 500 is optimal for anybody that's a man. Man. It's ma'am. I love that video. Anyway, man, text Clay, 601 633-9017. Get a free testosterone screening from Live Better Men's Health and Wellness, or go check out livebettermen.com. Hey, real quick, tonight, it's the big night. It's Friday. It's August 7th. It's Cross and Dixon. We had Jason Miller in here yesterday, the lead singer of that and the Jason Miller Band. A big reunion show going on right out there at Cypress Point Resort, Cameron's Garage, outdoor in the parking lot. Weather's going to be nice. I saw a 4% chance of rain this morning. Now, if it was my outdoor show, that 4% would be right over my stage. But I'm sure they have better luck than Clay Edwards does when it comes to doing that. So that's going to be a blast tonight. The Stevens brothers are opening, and it's going to be a big old parking lot party in Rankin County. You couldn't ask for a better combination. It's always going to be a little warm outside. Dress accordingly. Less is more. Less is more. Ladies, put on them Daisy Dukes, them cowboy hats, them white boots that y'all like to wear. Fellas, or whatever. And we'll see y'all there. What's y'all saying? Don't meet me there. Beat me there. I'd get there early. Stop by the steakhouse. Stop by the tavern. Get a good steak. Put some food on your belly before you put all that alcohol on it. And shots. And last but not least, do not drink and drive. Uber does work out there. Ask me how I know. All right, man. Creston.
Yes, sir.
Let's get into it, shall we? I was watching Jason Whitlock yesterday, the Fearless Show. And I've always watched. I've been a Jason Whitlock fan going back to when he was at the Kansas City Star, whatever the newspaper was there, and would make occasional hits on different talk radio shows and ESPN and Around the Horn and all that stuff. So I've been a Jason Whitlock fan for a long time, and when he kind of started discovering his conservative side a little bit more, be more outspoken about it, especially during COVID and pre-COVID. He was even part owner of Outkick for a while. Him and Clay Travis had a falling out. Hated that. I love when those two linked up. Like, this is perfect. These are my favorite two guys owning this company together. This is going to be great. And it just the business side kind of got the best of them. But neither here nor there. Jason revealed some documents yesterday on his show that somebody sent him. It looks like, and look, these aren't quote unquote leaked documents. Anybody that knows what to look for can find these on states' websites.
Yep.
But I would say the information was told to somebody, hey, you might want to go check this out. You know, it ain't leaked. It ain't nothing private. It's public information, but it's there if you know what you're looking for. If you don't know what you're looking for, then it ain't there, right? Well, looks like old Christine Wonsley Wells lost custody of her three oldest children to their father. And you got to understand, in Mississippi, how difficult it is for the man to get full custody.
It's been that way for a long time.
That's why I was a big supporter of this 50-50 thing.
Yeah.
And the fact it passed. And there's some people mad about it. I saw somebody in my DM the other day say, I wish you would talk about this 50-50 law passing and what it's going to do. I was like, I think it's great. I think it's phenomenal. Now, you know, every case is going to be a little different, but at least the starting point is even.
Right.
And then you go from there. Like, I don't think it's going to be this big lopsided thing that's going to hurt children. I think it forces everything to be looked at from a 50-50 standpoint, and then you can go from there. But we're not going to talk about that right now. I want to talk about this. So in Mississippi, you got to be a really bad mom to lose custody of your kids. Now, they're just going to come out and say that, but I will. You got to be a bad mom to lose custody to the man. You really do. So Sarah Fields dug into it. Like I said, we got the document up on the Mazda Jackson live stream there. It's a screenshot of the case and who the father is. There's one kid and there's a set of twins. So Sarah Fields did this long, deep investigation into it to try to peel back the onion and see what the real situation was, not just speculating off this document here. That just kind of like the finality of it. And she had to pay child support too, just to boot. She lost custody and had to pay child support. This is back in, it was final in 2008. You know, she was fighting this. If you do the math here, because math be mathin'. Nolan was born in August 19th of 2007. 2 days after me, but years apart, 20 years apart. So he was born then. No, not 20, 30 years apart. Yeah, 30 years apart. Gosh dang, getting old. 30 years apart. I was 30 in 2007. My God, I'm getting old. So she was fighting for custody of her kids while she's pregnant with a whole nother kid whose dad we aren't sure who is, because they claim that Wonsley is the dad, the current husband and father of the two kids, the two youngest kids. But man, why wouldn't Nolan have his father's last name? I'm just telling y'all, that man ain't the biological father. Now, he can be a great stepdad, whatever, but I have my doubts about that because rumors be rumoring, just like math be mathin', that Nolan had lived with his grandparents for years. Now, there's a big difference there in lived with and custody of. Now, mama and stepdad may have had custody of Nolan as legal guardians, as parents. Make no mistake. On paper, they may be the parents. But according to everybody that I've talked to down in Ocean Springs, it's well-known fact that Nolan lived full-time with his grandparents or grandfather, whatever that situation is. Mm-hmm. Take that with a grain of salt. But it would appear to be that way if you go look at Wonsley, and I'm referring to the mother, if you go look at her Facebook page, there's a big donut hole there where there ain't no pictures of her and Nolan. Except at like big events, like there's no pictures of her and Nolan. Now, you may say, well, Clay, it's a teenager kid, 15, 16, 17. He ain't taking a lot of pictures with mom. And, okay, I'll give you that. Maybe. Still weird, I would think. Mom's going to want to post pictures of her kid. My mom posts all kind of old pictures of me all the time. Well, with no context, no nothing, just here's a random picture of Clay. At any age, me and my daughters and stuff. And that's fine. But that's what a mother does, is she's usually showing off her kids online. But she didn't show Nolan off a whole lot. Anyway, so she loses custody of the three kids. And we got the details here because Sarah's piece is really long. I ran it through Grok and said, Grok, give me the long story short version of this. And so here's kind of what it says. It says, so none of this involved Nolan, by the way, which just to be clear there, there's one big misconception. This was not about Nolan, and I knew that from looking at the dates on it. But this was about the three youngest who were born with the father named Briscoe. Now, him and Christine were never married. So, all right, so none of these involved Nolan. The case was only about Christine Wells' three older kids and James E. Briscoe Jr., the father. So Christine, this is in 2007, Christine filed seeking custody. Briscoe countersued alleging that she was unstable with bad housing and employment. Excuse me. And at the time, the situation hurt the kids, then ages 2 and 9 months. They first agreed, and keep in mind, she had kids that were 2 and 9 months, and she's pregnant with Nolan at this time. If you look at the timeline, has to be. So she got a 9-month-old. She's got 2 9 months. I think the twins are 9 months at this time, and she's pregnant with another. I mean, she wasted no time. Again, with another man. But I digress. People do that all the time. It is what it is. They first agreed to joint custody plus a guardian ad litem. I've learned recently what that is. Weeks later, they agreed to give Briscoe legal custody and Christine visitation. No judge ever declared her, quote, an unfit mother, as some online reports suggested. But for the father to get full custody, mom was unfit. I mean, let's just be honest there. So that was 2007. So in 2008, Christine was ordered to pay $66 a week child support. Fellas, I'm sure some guys right now paying child support are reading that. They're saying $66. Can I get that judge to do mine? I know it's based on some income stuff and some other things. It benefits you more to have 3 kids with 3 different people than it does 3 kids with the same person. The multiplier doesn't work in your favor when it's all have the same father. It goes down every kid, the amount of money you get. Mm-hmm. If you have 3 different kids with 3 different men or 3 different women, you get the max amount on all 3 kids from each person. But they can't make one person pay the max amount times 3. So it's kind of like this, I say a multiplier. I guess it would be a subtractor, a negative multiplier. I don't know what the technical term for a negative multiplier is, but anyway. So That was 2007. And then, like I said, 2008, she was ordered to pay the $66 a week in child support. Well, 10 years later, well, almost 10 years later, 29 years later, 2017, Briscoe, the dad, asked for more child support because, well, she's a nurse by then and she's making more money. In 2018, Christine got temporary custody, but it was thrown out on a service/procedural error, and the kids went back to Briscoe. Imagine 10 years later, mom trying to steal custody of you after you've been living with your dad for that long. In 2019, the final order. They agreed to joint legal and joint physical custody, week on, week off, no child support either way. Bottom line, serious allegations were made and custody shifted early on by agreement. But nothing in the public records declares her, quote, unfit. And the case ended with equal shared custody. All records are public. No evidence was, quote unquote, leaked by the state. So make of all that what you will. But at the end of the day, all of that, everything that was released was factual. I mean, she lost custody of her kids. And look, can people change? Absolutely. People can change. And I don't want to sit here and pigeonhole Christine. I don't want to judge the person she is today by 2007, 2008 standards. God knows I don't want to be judged by 2007, 2000 Clay standards, because I was at my lowest of low points personally. Professionally, I was at my highest point. So it was quite the dichotomy in my life there. Was the lowest of lows personally with addictions and partying too much and women and all that stuff, and professionally making more money than I've ever made in my life. You know, and it's like, it's funny how we judge what success and failures are in life. If I didn't tell people that I had a drug problem, nobody would know. My drug abuse was very private, with the exception of one or two people, you know, right, that knew. So like, I tell people this because I was always scared that those one or two people would rat me out at some point. So I was always like, well, you know what? I would rather control my narrative and never let anybody else be the one to snitch me out. Right. So I was like, you know what? It's been so long since I've touched a drug. I don't mind if people know that I did drugs. It just makes for better conversation, to be honest. And I don't believe if you go sit up here and you're going to be judgy and do what I do, that you need to be honest with people about yourself. And
also you got some experience, so you know what you're talking about. Right.
And that's the other thing that blows my mind, Creston, is people will sit there and say, how dare you? I love doing that in my what's her name voice. The little white girl, the climate change nut job, Greta Thunberg. Oh. How dare you? People are like, how dare you? Hey, you've been an addict. How dare you talk about other people who are going through that same issue? Man, look, again, let's go back to the part of I was my most financially successful I'd ever been. And I'm not trying to say one's right, one's wrong, but it's like being fat and having a bad attitude. You can't be both. You can't be fat and a pain in the ass to deal with. You can't have bad credit and no money down. You can't be an addict and broke. So I ended up broke later on. I ended up addicting my way into being broke too, eventually. But for the most part, when I got broke, guess what happened when I got broke, Creston?
You got clean?
I did. I got clean. I never broke into a business. I never stole any money from a family member. I never pawned anything. None of that. So I was like,
funny how that happens.
It is. It is me going broke actually saved my life. Funny how that works. Let's take a break real quick. We'll be right back here on the Clay Edwards Show, 103.9 WYAB. But let me say this real quick, just to put an explanation point on the end of this sentence. I will absolutely talk bad about you, and I will never not do that if you're out here getting banged up in public. If you have an addiction and it's something you're handling in private, then so be it. You'll never hear a word about me about it. I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about people who are battling a painful addiction because of a doctor that overprescribed them. I'm not talking about anybody like that that's getting up and going to work every day and trying to find enough pills to not stay sick. You're not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people who are out here staying banged up in public at gas stations, harassing people, walking around up and down the streets half naked, committing all this crime to feed their addictions. Those are the people I'm talking about. So all my addiction community friends out there that aren't doing those things, I'm not talking about you. I support you. I've been there. Not everybody's rock bottom is the same. That's always been my story. Everybody's rock bottom is different. Everybody's rock bottom isn't pushing the last bit of your belongings down Highway 80 in Jackson in a buggy. My rock bottom was sitting in a room with a group of people doing narcotics and me looking around and realizing I would never be around any of these people if we weren't getting high together. Would never be around these people. And the next day, I was passed out on my couch. My dad walked in, and the way I remember this, I'm not 100% sure this is the way it went down, but the way I remember it, my dad slapped the taste out of my mouth and woke me up and said, hey, it's the drugs or it's your family. You pick right now. Right now. I had a moment of clarity. I picked my family. And it didn't hurt that I was broke, too. It made my decision just a little bit easier because I wasn't going to have nowhere to go if I didn't. And saved my life that day. So, anyway, maybe that message landed in somebody that needed to hear it. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show, 103.9 WYAB. Hey, guys, let's talk about two great places to grab a plate lunch today, shall we? You got McBee's, two great locations to serve you. You got Jackson. You know where it's at. You've got, and it's Jackson Restaurant Week, too, by the way, so I hope you've been supporting Martin. What did I say? Did I say McBee's or Martin's?
I don't know.
I mean Martin. We're going to talk about both. Martin's. At Martin's today, two great locations to serve you. You got downtown Jackson, and you got Livingston out here in Madison County, out by Reunion and all that. It's fried chicken at Martin's. So many places do fried fish, and the other one we're about to talk about does. Fried chicken, and I mean, Creston, this is great bone-in fried chicken. You get two pieces, white meat or dark meat, however you want to do it. I'm a white meat guy. But actually what I like is I like a chicken leg and a chicken breast, or a chicken wing and a chicken breast. I don't want to do like a leg and a wing because it's not enough food. I either need two of, if I do that, I either need two legs and a wing or two wings and a leg. But if I get a breast, I only need two pieces. You don't think about these kind of things?
I understand. To each his own. I'm a thigh guy.
Are you a thigh guy? See, I like grilled and smoked thighs. I don't like fried thighs.
Ooh, I gotta have them.
The fat, the way the fat fries on a thigh, I don't like it. And I like fat. I eat the fat on everything I eat, clearly. But I just, for whatever reason, I just don't like the way it tastes on a fried thigh. It's something about it. I don't know.
I guess it's just because, when I was little and getting chicken on, Sunday or whatever from my mom, my dad always got the breast meat. He's the dad, he gets that. Mm-hmm. When we got the rest of it. So I guess that's what I was brought up on. That's what I like. So,
I like chicken gizzards.
Oh, don't get me started on that now.
I don't like livers, but I like gizzards. So my dad, he had that store on Lynch Street. Yeah. Growing up, we were the first, to the best of my knowledge, we were the first Chester fried store around here. I don't know if we were the first one in the state, but we're pretty sure we were the first one here. We tried barbecue, and that didn't work, or we were going to try barbecue. And that's right, we were going to do barbecue, and he always regretted not doing barbecue. But he ended up going with the Chester fried thing instead. They did gangbusters for a long time. Man, I ate so much fried chicken. It ain't no wonder I wasn't an obese kid. It really is. I'd go down to the store when my dad picked me up from school around 2:15. By the time we got out, he'd come pick us up. And I'd go down to the store with him until the afternoon. My mom could get off and come pick us up. I think back now, late 80s, mid 80s, white kid, just running up and down the corner of Lynch Street, hanging out and all. And the Lynch Street was not a great place in the late 80s or early 90s. It was as deadly down there, if not worse down there then than it is now. So I've seen it all. But that's a whole nother story. Save that for a book I may attempt to write one day. Short story, not a book. Anyway, Chester fried, man. It was great. I love fried chicken. But that's when I discovered the chicken gizzards. It's like basically, best way to describe a chicken gizzard if you've never had one is it's like eating beef jerky, but fried.
That's a good description.
Because, you just put it on there, and I hope you like, it's like long lasting. We'll say that. I won't say anymore. And I always liked them. I hadn't had a gizzard in 20 years, but I used to like them as a kid. I'd put them on a roll. Put it in between a roll. That's really what I'd do is just decrust all the chicken and put the crust in the roll. And I didn't really give a dang about the meat. I'm about still that way, by the way.
I'm sure there's other places around here that do them, but Mama Hamill's has them on the buffet up there. If you ever
gizzards,
want them.
Really. Well, look. I guess I need to stay on topic here because I can just start talking about gas station fried chicken all day. We've done it before on this show. And I got called a racist for it too. By the way, I did a whole show about the best fried chicken and got called a racist for doing it. Look now, you can call me a racist for a lot of things because I understand that my content it can be. Y'all avoided criticism for so long that when you hear it, you confuse criticism for racism. But I'm not going to let y'all don't say I'm one of the people who don't do the whole black people fried chicken stereotype. I don't do the black people watermelon stereotype crap because I love fried chicken and watermelon. I'm never going to sit there and say, oh, look at that, black people and fried chicken. I don't do that. You know what Clay Edwards loves? 3 things: beer, fried chicken, and watermelon. I ain't going to let black people have that as their own. You can't tell me that's yours. No, that's ours. That's a Southern thing. That is not a black thing. And white people that do that, stop doing that. Quit giving away our fried chicken and watermelon to one particular group of people. If you want to stereotype anybody with it, stereotype me. When you think of fried chicken and watermelon, think of me. Don't be a racist. Think of me.
Yeah, you want me to give a restaurant a bad name? Let me have some of their fried chicken, and if it ain't good, I'm never going back.
No, never. I mean, So Martin's, if you want some great fried chicken, that's the whole point of this train wreck of a conversation here. They got it today at both locations. It's the Blue Plate Special, and of course the full menu is available. They got a Nirvana tribute band coming up at the end of this month too. There at Martin's, just like the premier Nirvana tribute band. So y'all check that out if you're a Nirvana fan. And I'm not necessarily a grunge or Nirvana fan, but as I've gotten older, I've gotten a little more nostalgic about things. That's on August 28th. They're called Nirvana, the Nirvana Tribute Experience. So y'all check that out. Smells like 1991 around here.
Oh, man.
I like it. So then you got McBee's over there on Lake Harbor Drive. Buzzing her is since 1982. The last great Gen X dive bar, as I like to call it. It's a Mississippi farm-raised catfish. It's the Blue Plate Special of the day. And if that's not your jam, you can always get the hand-battered country fried steak, the grilled chicken breast, or the hamburger steak with gravy. And again, you got the fried catfish there. It's the Blue Plate of the day. So check out either of those 3 places. And starting on August 16th, both of them will have a second location as the Lake Caroline, Lakeside, McBee's opens up right there in Madison County. So you'll have one of each, both two different locations.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how that works out there.
I think it's going to do really good.
I think you're right.
The place they replaced did good. There's just kind of wonky how all that went down. It's none of my business, but Michael's a good friend of mine, and I fully support him and excited to see that grow out there and what they can do out there. He's put a great team together to go run that thing, that's for sure. And a dream team, some would say. Some would say the best team ever. That's my Trump analogy, a Trumpism there. I didn't mean to heat up a whole segment there talking about chicken, but every now and then it's fun to take your foot off the gas a little bit and have a little fun. Let's stay on schedule this hour. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show, 103.9 WYAB. Hit like, hit share, drop a comment, good, bad, indifferent. I don't care. It all feeds the algorithm, and we're all slaves to it.
And it's Friday, people.
It's Friday. Swing by buyfafo.com and grab a FAFO shirt. Hook your boy up. Buy a shirt from me. I'm itching to drop something in the mail today, tomorrow, Monday. We'll be right back. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show, 103.9 WYAB. Real quick, guys, if you're out car shopping this weekend, swing by Ellis Autoplex. You're looking for a good pre-owned four-door, four-wheel drive pickup truck. My friends got you covered right there on Highway 471 in Brandon, Mississippi, man. They specialize in them four-door, four-wheel drives, especially on the F-150 side. But they got others, too. And don't fret, they also have cars and SUVs. And, of course, you just heard the commercial. So, they buy vehicles, too. You're going to get a real check, no scam, no marketplace maniacs, Craigslist crazies, any of that stuff. You're going to get a fair market value offer. You're not going to have to deal with the crazy people. And you're going to get a check you can cash today. You can trade it in. You can do whatever you want to do. They got you covered there at Ellis Autoplex. And, of course, shop them online today, ellisautoplex.com. It's locally owned. It's locally operated. Your boy worked there for over a year. I'm just telling you, good folks, man. Good folks right there. Highway 471 in Brandon. All right, so let's end on a low note today. Or maybe it's a high note. Real quick, before we do that, Creston, let's have a little bit of fun, right?
Okay, I'm with you.
Before we talk about people hanging in Jackson. Here is things to look for if you want to avoid right-wing individuals, extremists, some would say, the most extreme ever, some would say. Here are things to look for so you don't get caught up with a far-right extremist like Clay Edwards. They'll have a full-time job. These are red flags to look for. They'll have a full-time job. They can read. They actually love their family and their country. Big one there. The big and country. They have common sense. Unlike the person in the comments today that said, if that girl got run over, how did they know she had been gang raped? No common sense. None. No common sense at all. And I'm not even going to tell y'all why, because if you don't know how they can know that, you're part of the problem. And last but not least, they obey the law. These are signs of a far-right extremist. And let me add one more. They get sarcasm. They have a sense of humor. The left, regardless of their quote-unquote high IQs, as they try to tell us, they, understanding sarcasm and satire is a sign of a high IQ individual. You can Google that if you want to. It's going to be there. And the left has lost their ability to understand what's funny and to make jokes and to not care if somebody is offended, because there's so many people who can actually hear a joke, whether it's racist or whatever, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, whatever, and not be offended by it. Laugh and be like, oh, that's uncomfortable, but that's what's funny about it. The left has lost their ability to do that. And that's sad. What a sad, sad state to be in when you can't laugh anymore. But hey, you know what? I can. So thank y'all. Better seats at the comedy show for me. All right, let's jump back into it, man. So a black woman has ended up dead in Jackson. I know, shocker. But the swerve here is she was hanging from a tree.
Yeah, folks aren't aware. On August 3rd, 2026, Jackson police responded to 500 block of road amendments, a mostly black neighborhood, after neighbors reported finding the body of an unidentified black female, I think she's been identified now, in the backyard of a reportedly vacant abandoned home. She was hanging from a tree. Hinds County Coroner Jeremiah Howard later identified her as 29-year-old Tasha Fortune. Her body was sent to the Mississippi Crime Lab, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. Now, the first question I have is, have we established that a crime has been committed?
No.
Have we allowed the investigation to happen?
No. Now you know that waiting on investigations to happen now is racism's.
Well, that's kind of the question I have, because Jackson Ward 3 Councilman Kenneth Stokes wrote a letter to the U.S. Attorney. He wrote a letter to U.S. Attorney Baxter Kruger of the Southern District of Mississippi requesting assistance in the investigation of the death of a woman found hanging in a tree. First question I have is, Councilman Stokes, don't you have a police chief here in the city of Jackson?
I mean, super duper wokey woke police chief, a doctor. She has a PhD.
I believe I'm not 100%. I don't know that if that falls in the CCID, which would be Capitol Police, or in JPD. I believe that falls in JPD's jurisdiction.
I think so too.
Don't you trust your police chief and your people, your police officers, to do a good job?
You're extremely well paid police chief, by the way. That's a great point. Also, some, from the looks of it, gay, white movie star came out. Not that kind of come out, but I don't think he has to. I think it's obvious. Actor Berch Paul, P-A-L-L, never heard of him, says, quote, "Black people do not hang themselves from trees." Actor Berch Paul speaks out after Mississippi woman reportedly found dead behind a vacant home. I don't know why he'd be speaking on this, but whatever.
Well, Councilman Stokes says we are in dire need of the assistance of the U.S. Attorney's Office with this death investigation of an unidentified female discovered hanging in a backyard of an abandoned house on Road to Remembrance.
What was the date that she was found?
That was on the 3rd, I believe it was.
Today's the 7th. So we're 4 days.
We're 4
3
days,
full days.
4 days hence.
Maybe 2 full days into this, really. It happened, maybe they found her in the evening time.
Yeah.
On the 4th. Then you got the 5th and the 6th. Now today is the 7th. It's not even 9 o'clock yet.
Yeah.
We're just going into the 3rd full day. since this. Is it really time to call in the federales?
Well, he said we especially are in need of the following details. By whom she was murdered, the motive for the murder, the confirmed name of the decedent, which I think she has been properly identified by now, her permanent address, as well as other pertinent information. We look forward to your response. Do you not trust your police department to do this?
I know I don't, JPD, but not all of them anyway. So I would want to know the toxicology. That'd be my first thing, toxicology. You know, was she jazzed up at the time of death? And then, because that would say a lot about was it suicide or not, in my opinion.
Right.
You know, just what was your state of mind, you know, like. And then let me tell you what didn't happen. And I will take this to the bank, your stone cold lead pipe lock of the week, other than Nolan Wills was not killed by the people they have been accused of killing him. That's my other stone cold lead pipe lock. I'll tell you what it wasn't. It wasn't a roaming clan of like-minded individuals roaming around Jackson looking for black women to hang from trees, as it feels like the culture and their white liberal allies in Hollywood are attempting to suggest.
Well, as I have started calling the parachute people, have already started their hey-ho and halo jumps. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know what that is, look them up. And are flying in to establish already that a crime has been committed and that the roving bands of, us,
like-minded individuals.
Those people are already responsible for it.
Yeah. Has Crump spoken up yet?
They've been asking where Crump is at.
I know I did. Where is Crump at? And, let's talk about another black girl that was actually hunted down and killed. But again, not by a roaming clan of like-minded individuals. And of course, I haven't seen anything from the culture about this one. It's so weird how that works. So weird. Let's pull up her name here, a little bit of information. So here's what I wrote. Her name was Chloe. What is it? Chloe McDonald. McDonel. It may pronounce McDonald. I apologize if I'm getting the name wrong to the family, to the family's victim there, to the family of the victim. And first, I want to start off by this. I am not making light of this girl's death. I'm shining a light on this girl's death that I don't believe the community has done a good enough job of. And I'm calling the community out for it.
If folks think we're not trying to stand up for this, they're wrong.
100%. 100%. So, and here's what I put on Facebook. She was found on the Jackson walking trail. Dead, shot, right? So she'd been missing for a couple of days.
Yep.
So you got a black girl, a young black girl. I mean, just looking at her pictures here, she was super spunky. I mean, just looks cute as a button. Little facial expressions and all that stuff. Looked like she was a handful, and I mean that in all the right ways. And just looks like just a precious child to be around. She's like she could have been an actress. She really does. Like she's got the facial expressions, all that stuff. And just looks like a sweetheart of a girl. And I don't know anything about her. I just know that apparently the family had been reaching out to media outlets and the police trying to get them to do something, and none of them did, according to the family. At least that's what I was told. WLBT does have an interview up with them. We don't have time to play it. Y'all can go check that out on your own. But here's what I asked. I said, where are all the black for a living folks? Does this 15-year-old black girl's life not matter since it wasn't taken by a white person or a cop? Your people and your culture are disgusting. And here's the other important part of it. A 15-year-old girl, white, black, Hispanic, other, whatever, had been gunned down while out walking in Rankin or Madison County. If this very girl had died in Rankin or Madison County, the entirety of both counties would have come together to burn the shooters out of their homes. And if that doesn't work, they would put so much pressure on their family members that they would snitch them out. It wouldn't matter if she was white, black, Hispanic, or any other ethnicity. Everyone, I believe, would come together and demand accountability but not in Jackson. Not in Jackson or similar demographic, majority Democrat-controlled cities. But you know what? I didn't see Stokes come out and demand an investigation into this girl's. We don't need help in this girl's death. This happened in the CCID, so we know you don't need it because you got Bo Lucky and Sim Shanks and that whole crew over there. They got this well under control. They will have a killer arrested by the end of the weekend, probably. No pressure, guys. But you don't see them demanding a federal investigation for this because she wasn't hanging from a tree. She just shot on a highly publicized walking trail they put a whole lot of money into.
And that's what I said.
I found dead on one.
That's what I said to begin with. In the hanging incident, we have not established that a crime has been committed. In this young girl, there has been established that a crime has been committed. She was shot in the back of the head, according to all reports.
Yeah. And I'm guessing no firearm was found at the scene unless she shot herself and hit it later. So that's what we're dealing with here. And that's why it's hard to take this crap serious when they try to involve race. Every loss of life is serious. And I never want to discount that. Nolan Wells' life, the loss of his life, very serious, deserves a fair investigation. But my gripe is, who said he wasn't going to get one? At what point did you feel like he wasn't getting a fair investigation 12 hours into 6 hours, 5 hours into finding him? You got to find him before you start an investigation. Oh, not really, but I mean, before you can start really, really peeling the onion back, you got to have a body. They found it pretty quick. We'll be right back to land the plane for the day. This is the Clay Edwards Show, 103.9 WYB. All right, guys, just going to tell you guys bye. We ain't going to bring nothing of great value to the show in the last minute and a half. So just a shout out to the mods. Shout out to everybody there in the group chat. Appreciate everybody this morning. The lovers, the haters, the discriminators, all of you. Couldn't do it without you. Keep this machine rolling on down the tracks. Y'all get out this week, support all these great sponsors. Creston, you got anything?
Everybody have a safe weekend. Be back with us here on Monday morning.
This has been the Clay Edwards Show. Today was episode 1,270 of this monster. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. If you want to sponsor this monster, email me, clay@wyab.com. That's clay@wyab.com. Otherwise, I will see you out and about this weekend. I'm planning on getting out of the house for the first time in a while. I'm getting a little cabin fever. So I've got one too many dogs. And when I start appreciating the dogs company more than I appreciate being around humans, I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. Maybe I will just stay home. Y'all be blessed. See y'all back here Monday, 7 a.m. Welcome back in as we land the plane for not the day but the week here on the show. Guys, don't forget, get out tonight. You've got big show there at Cypress Point, Cameron's Garage. You got Jason Miller leading up the big reunion with the Cross and Dixon boys, all 4 original members. Super excited about that. Special guest, the Stevens brothers. Get out, support other great locations, sponsors. You got McBee's, you got Martin's. Always got some great live entertainment going on at Martin's downtown, and they just finished up the big new expansion at the Livingston location. Swing by and check that out. It looks awesome. And look, we'll be back here swinging for the fences, fighting the good fight Monday, 7 a.m. You got a big lineup of shows today here on WYAB. Coming up next, you got the Chris Davis Arts and Blues Hour, brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield, followed by Andrew Gosser from 10 to noon. And I forgot to say Andrew's name earlier. Andrew, I do apologize when I was reading off, man. I just do stuff off the top of my head here and get absent-minded sometimes. You got Andrew All Gosser, no breaks, as well as 10 to noon. Then you got Lindsey Beckham, noon to 1, followed by our national shows there in the middle of the day. And then 4 to 6, Kim Wade, Radio Strongman, the one, the only, the living legend.
It's Friday.
Do the Gun and Knife Club. The Gun and Knife Club. And don't forget the Gun and Knife Show. The big one, the Great Southern Gun and Knife Show. This weekend, right out there in Richland at the Parks and Recs building. All day Saturday, all day Sunday. Don't meet me there. Beat me there. See you Monday. Peace.
See ya.